Good morning. You can see it's still a little bit clear. We've got some fog in the distance though. So pretty out here this morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Happy MPA Monday. I'll give you a quick look at where we're at today, and then we'll go ahead and start our little stroll. So those of you familiar with this area, we are on the south end of Morro Bay. That's the water you're looking at there. That's Morro Bay. And then this strip of land here with the dunes, there's my finger, that's the sand spit, stretching all the way to Morro Rock, which you may not be able to see. You can see a little bit of it, not so well on the camera though. It's a bit foggy out today. So this stretch that I'm at now is actually considered a part of Montaña de Oro State Park, which is the southernmost park in the San Luis Obispo Coast District. And we'll be taking a little stroll along this bit here towards Shark Inlet. As always, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them, and I will try to reach out to you and answer them in time. If not, we can respond afterwards as well. For those of you that are new here, welcome. Happy MPA Monday. Every Monday I check out a different region of the San Luis Obispo Coast District, which is smack dab in the center of the Central California coast. And an MPA stands for Marine Protected Area. That's actually what we're looking at here. Morro Bay actually has 2 MPAs. And an MPA is essentially much like an underwater park. So for a long time, we never really had any designated spaces in the ocean for protection, maybe for a certain species, but not for an entire area. And that's what MPAs are. So they protect an entire ecosystem, including all of the species within it, as well as how they interact with each other. I'll go ahead and introduce myself real quick since there's a lot of new people on. Hello, welcome. My name is Robin. I work for California State Parks. And again, I'm here on the San Luis Obispo Coast District, which is smack dab in the center of the Central California coast, about 3 hours north of Los Angeles, 3 hours south of San Francisco. And right now I'm at Montaña de Oro State Park, and we'll be doing a little walk towards Shark Inlet on the south end of Morro Bay. I am wearing a mask because I am in public, just to keep myself as well as others around me safe. I'll go ahead and quickly, if I can, give you a quick smile and a quick wave so you can actually see what my face looks like. But let's go ahead and flip the camera so you can see what I'm looking at. Got a little stretch of eucalyptus here. Hopefully I don't lose connection as we go through. You can see that the water is super still today. You can actually see the dunes and the sand spit reflecting off the water. Good morning, Joan. I'm just seeing your comments now. Good morning, Jean. Omar, Marguerite, Margaret, I hope I'm saying that right. If any of you have ever walked near moist eucalyptus, go ahead and envision that now. because it's a lovely smell. Good morning, Mary Lou. Good morning, Kathy. Good morning, Robert. Happy New Year. That's right. I'm already forgetting it. It's already the new year. Happy New Year, everyone. This is a beautiful little stretch here. An opening. Looking out at the bay. You can see some of the hills in the distance. For those of you that have ever visited San Luis Obispo County, you may be familiar with the Morros. They're also sometimes known as the Seven Sisters or the Nine Sisters. And this one right here, that's actually Black Hill. That's a part of Morro Bay State Park, which is just north of Morro Bay. It's another state park. We've got Cerro Cabrillo right there. This stretch here is actually on the south end of the bay. This is part of the town of Los Osos Baywood. And you may be able to see the three stacks in the distance. Possibly not, though. You can kind of see them. Comes out much clearer in real life. I wish you all could actually be here, but this will do for now. So I see Annette asked, why is it called Shark Inlet? Good question. Annette, we actually have sharks here. Now, they're not big scary sharks whatsoever because Morro Bay is actually pretty shallow water. And so we've got leopard sharks that like to hang out here. And Shark Inlet, and much of Morro Bay actually, is what's known as a nursery for not just leopard sharks, but actually lots of different kinds of animals. Again, if you've been here before, you've probably seen sea otters. And sea otter mamas love to bring their pups here. They love to raise them here in Morro Bay. And a big reason for that, there's actually several reasons why raising your young in Morro Bay is so beneficial. One of them is that it's an estuary. An estuary just means that fresh water, so creeks and streams come from inland, come into this area here and meet the salty ocean water from the sea. And so this water here is a mixture of salty water and fresh water. This is what's known as brackish water. And this water is actually very nutrient rich. It has a lot of available resources and food for lots of different kinds of animals. So that's one reason. Another reason actually is because of this stretch of land here that I pointed out earlier. This is known as the sand spit. And on the other side of the sand spit is the Pacific Ocean. And I can be quiet in just a minute or so, but you can actually hear the roaring of the waves from the Pacific Ocean. It's pretty loud. It gets pretty wild. For those of us who have visited any ocean, it can get pretty wild, pretty windy, pretty crazy, and not an ideal place for young lives to begin. But because we have the sand spit here, it actually protects the waters here. And you can see it's so calm. We've got some birds. You cannot see what kind of birds those are. They're a little bit too far away. We've got some birds in the distance though, and they're just floating. They're just hanging out on top of the water because it's so still. It's so calm. And this leads to ideal conditions for raising young. That bird flying overhead, that's actually a tern. Happy New Year, Diane. Sounds like maybe there was some audio issues, but maybe it's better now. Oh, everybody's helping her out. Thank you so much. So this right here, this is a bush lupine. For those of you familiar with lupine flowers, their leaves look like little stars. There's several different kinds of lupines. This one here is a bush lupine. I think they're so pretty. Continue our walk here. See, there's actually a nice little bench even to take a seat and enjoy the view. Cliff is asking, has duck hunting season ended? I wish I had that answer for you. I know you can easily find it with a quick Google search. I believe it actually hasn't started. I'm not too positive. I would definitely look that up though, because I think we're currently in it. I actually haven't heard anybody hunting, but that doesn't mean anything, so it could very easily still be going on. So definitely check into that, Cliff. Omar saying that that there's a lot of birds. Yeah, there's actually not many birds. I was thinking there was gonna be more. Every time I've come, it's almost been a feeding frenzy. Got an egret flying right there. Beautiful white birds. So go ahead and let me know where you're tuning in from. And I always love suggestions. So checking out the San Luis Obispo Coast District, there's lots of places to explore. So if you have any suggestions on where you'd like to visit, let me know and I'll try to make it happen. State park property is obviously more ideal for me to visit, but we do have a lot of partners in the area, so I can maybe check out some other areas as well. Kirk is saying, I think that was the silver bush lupine. Yes, thank you. More specifically, it is the silver bush lupine. I actually put a link there as well, so you can check that out. Cutting inward a little bit, you can see the coastal vegetation here. Got some more of the bush lupine. They're so pretty on gloomy days like this because they kind of pop. They do look silvery, don't they? We've got a local here. Marguerite's tuning in from Los Osos. Annette's tuning in also local from Baywood. Omar's tuning in from Carlsbad. Good morning, Stu. Or rather, good afternoon for you. Happy New Year from New Jersey. He's suggesting we go back to Moonstone Beach. We will definitely be going back to Moonstone Beach. We were going to check it out last Monday, actually, but it was raining and we unfortunately had to cancel. But yes, we will definitely check out Moonstone Beach again That is a beautiful spot. For those of you unfamiliar, that's in Cambria, California, a part of the San Luis Obispo Coast District. It's actually within Hearst San Simeon State Park. So those of you following right now on Morro Bay State Park's Facebook page, make sure to check out Hearst San Simeon State Park's Facebook page as well, because we alternate Facebook Lives between the two. Lorraine is watching from La Habra. Welcome, Lorraine. Amy is also from Baywood, I believe. We've got Cliff from Baywood. Nancy's enjoying from Yorba Linda. Good morning, Nancy. Anna's visiting from Avenal. Thanks for joining, Anna. Kat is also tuning in from Baywood. She's saying the Back Bay is one of her favorite places on earth. I would have to agree. So when she says the Back Bay, I think that is a bit more of a local thing to say. But what she's meaning is that we are in the back part of the bay. So where the bay actually meets the ocean is all the way on the other side of the sand spit by Morro Rock. That's where the bay meets the salty sea. The sand spit, of course, blocks it entirely. And on the other side of the sand spit is the Pacific Ocean. And where we're walking towards is this narrow strip, this inlet called Shark Inlet. So this Back Bay is really special. Sorry for the wobbly camera. Got some very unstable terrain, so I'll try to keep it as stable as possible. We've got Robert tuning in from Newhall, California. Welcome, Robert. So again, this stretch that I'm walking on now, as well as the dunes that we're looking at across this little bit of water, this is all Montaña de Oro State Park. As we get closer, let me know if you can hear the waves. I actually don't know this bird. I know it's hard for you guys to see. Black patch in the front. Some speckles on the chest and wings. And it actually looks like a bit of orange on the throat and head. We'll definitely be looking this one up. For those of you who enjoy bird watching, you may be familiar with the app Merlin Bird ID. That is my go-to in the field quick resource when I don't have books available to me. So I'll definitely be remembering the colors, the size, and where I saw the bird. So in this case, on a bush, because those are the questions that I will be asked to help ID that bird. Really beautiful. There's actually lots of small noises. The rumbling of the waves. Lots of bird sounds, so I'll be quiet for the next minute or two so you can enjoy that with me. Look at this giant bush lupine. It's massive. So it's a little hard to see, but this is actually the inlet that we're visiting, Shark Inlet. Again, not a great vista point. You can't see it from up above, but I personally find walks along the shore a little bit more interesting. The views are exceptional from summits, but walking along the shore, you actually get to hear a lot of the animals that live in the area. Maybe even get to see some of them. Kirk is suggesting a steady cam. That's a good idea. Definitely will look into that. Thank you, Kirk. Lewis is saying it's raining cats and dogs in San Francisco Bay. Please bring that down here, Lewis. That would be great. We were at the beginning of the week. Last week, I think we had 4 days forecasted of rain, and then it was just one day, which is actually today. And as you can see, it's not raining, so we desperately need some rain. Stu can hear the rumbling of the waves. Kirk is suggesting that that bird is a flicker, which I will definitely keep in mind. Thank you for that. Janet is saying this is her favorite hike. Are there restrictions about being here after sunset? That is a good question, Janet. Love to sit on the dunes and watch boats returning to Morro Bay at sunset. Oh, that sounds lovely. I am actually not super familiar with that. I'm not in law enforcement, but I love hearing these questions because I can slowly learn more and more and give you the correct answers. But I would definitely look that up. I don't believe that there are any restrictions, but definitely don't hold me to that because I'm not positive. I do know that there are no dogs on the trail, which is not the answer to your question, but just something I'm familiar with. Look at the haze in the distance. The beautiful dunes. Like Janet said, hanging out at the top is really fun because on the other side we have the Pacific Ocean. So it's kind of like you're sitting on top of the world. So I want to thank you all so much for joining me on this lovely little stretch here. You can still see some of the Morros, the hills in the distance. That one's actually Hollister. There's my finger. Hollister Peak right there. And again, we've got Shark Inlet right over here. So this is the very back end of Morro Bay. So again, thank you so much for joining me today. Love always having you out here with me. Thank you again for your suggestions. Moonstone is definitely on the docket. So I will look into going back there again, weather pending, of course. A happy MPA Monday, happy New Year. I'm hoping you all had a wonderful holiday season. Happy, healthy time with your families and friends. Anybody local to you. It's getting a little hazier as we go on. You can see that it's a little hard to see in the distance. But again, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Robin. Everyone take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and most importantly, stay kind. See you guys next week.